Good afternoon. It is March 13th, 2026. And here, let me open the daily chart. So we closed the day off very strong to the downside. Uh, we're at an important level of support here. So we'll have to wait until next week to see what happens. Basically, the market wanted to close near the low. This was looking more bearish a few minutes ago. But the market wanted to close near its low, and it created a gap between the body of this week's bar and the low of last week's bar. So I'll definitely be looking for a test of 67.14 next week. Uh, but, you know, honestly, the good news, I mean, maybe it's not good news, but we're finally getting some type of correction here on the monthly chart. And I just think that's a good thing because there's there's a gap above here, and I after the past few months it didn't look like we were going to go higher, so we got to wait for the market to correct before we do go higher. So anyway, here's the 17,000 tick chart. Here's how it looks on the 17,000 tick chart. So we had that bear channel that I was talking about yesterday. I think the computer might have moved the channel a little bit, but we have that bear channel. We kind of went sideways and kind of chopped on down till we got uh, a break. I mean, this isn't much of a convincing break here, but then we get a sell climax, and then we get a very convincing break, and then we get more selling, spike and channel down toward these lows. So anyway, let's take a look at the price action on the 2700 tick chart. All right, so I believe bull spike and channel uh, at around 5 o'clock, if that's the time you're coming in. And so you can buy, uh, you can kind of buy high, but I would just wait until, so look, you don't have any consecutive star bars. So if you get two bear bars in a row, maybe you just buy when it looks bearish. So if you bought on this second bar here, I'll tell you what I did. I thought we were failing near this high, um, and so I sold. But I didn't like that this bar ended with a stem, and I was like, you know what? No, this is a very strong. There isn't any strong consecutive bear bars, so I got out and then I bought above this bar. And it wouldn't have gone very far, but that's a pretty good move, and it's off the trend line. So I think you can go long there. Can you go long here? Yeah, I think so because again, no consecutive strong bear bars in this trend. And that turns out to be a pretty nice move before you get the overshoot of the channel, and you should take profits below that bar, just like all the computers did clearly. Then we go sideways for a little bit, and I was expecting a second leg down. So when we didn't get it, and you get all these dojis, and then you finally do get a nice bear bar, and it just quickly reverses, I think it's worth considering going long. And then when you get two more dojis, I think you got to get out. And then maybe you consider this one, buying here above this one. It's just low risk. Turns out to be a good move. We come back, we test this price level. I'm not so convinced at this time. I was betting on reversals here. I was thinking that we would get a reversal. And so when it pops and goes up, maybe you can consider this one. I'm not going to mark it. Um, and then we get this super strong bull buy climax after the market opens. Honestly, I like going short up here. So if you wait for the lower high, I think that's a good move. Then you get a failed second entry long. This is all in a bear channel, as you can see. Um, so, going short below this bar, you're probably going to run into resistance as you do here. So be quick to take profits. It pops back up, and when this big breakout bar fails, and we get prices go down here, I think you should look for a lower high. That's how I felt. So maybe you take this one. And this turns out to be a tremendous move. All right, you can see body gap breakout below these lows. The bodies don't overlap. Breakout below this low, the bodies don't overlap. Breakout below these lows, the bodies don't overlap. And then finally we get a couple legs up. And so, I mean, you could expect a move to a new low. So maybe you like go short, like right here. Maybe you could consider that. I think turns out to be a good move. I'm not going to mark it because it's not really like following any rules. Get a pullback to the EMA. It goes lower. You could sell the pullback to the EMA here, but you're just in the middle of today's range, so you got to be aware of that. You do get a nice bull channel here, and if you're anticipating that to fail, maybe you take this lower high. So we get this bear channel and we get a break of it, and then we just go sideways for a while. So what did I see? I kind of honestly, you see all this, you see this congestion, bars getting bigger. I kind of like this big bear bar. It's a second entry short too, off the EMA. I think you wouldn't have your trend line drawn like this at this point, but you'd probably have it drawn like this. So, I think that's worth considering. You get the break, and we start going sideways here. So you can buy with limit orders down here and sell with limit orders up here. A lot of chopping. Personally, even though this was a pretty large range, it's hard for me to really like getting in. I'll tell you, I like this one because you get a first leg up, second very strong leg up. So I probably trapped a bunch of bulls, and we get one more leg up. So I mean, I like selling. Honestly, I like selling that close. And it's low risk and high reward. I mean, if you sell the close, you get in at 66, 62. Let's just call it 62.25. So you're risking about 3 points. And if you go to the midline, close, you're going for about 7 points. So that's good risk reward ratio. We break out to the low side and we find some support at the low from the overnight. We bounce and we start making higher lows, and then we get a second leg trap. So you can see kind of a weak broad bull channel that's followed by an extremely strong second bull leg up, and that's very common in trading ranges and broad channels. You get a second leg trap. Let's see if there's any in this channel alone. I mean, you could argue that because you could say like this one push up, two push up, three push up, this fourth push up is like the big, looks like kind of like the strongest bar. Not really a great example though, but you see the second strong leg, that's a second leg trap. So I mean, you could argue for shorting up here, but I think you're better off waiting on the lower high. That's not too good. You're got a doji, not a lot of room back to the EMA. So maybe you consider this one. And I think that's pretty much it for today. So I hope everyone had a good week. I will be back on Monday.